Hello, hello, welcome to Revelator Alpha, another radio podcast thing, talking all things motorcycle, all things biker-ish, biking, whatever you want to call it, really. So, yes, it's, what time is it? Just after 5, sorry, a little bit later. I forgot to set up the studio after I dismounted it earlier on. So I've been filming a couple of videos today, so I took things apart, and I thought, oh, cricky, I've got to put it all back together again before I could go online. So anyway, sorry for the delay. Anyway, so I've got a bit of news for you, some news items. We're going to dig into that as well and see what's going on. But as always, you can support the channel by subscribing, by going on to Patreon, by PayPal. You can follow all the social media channels, Twitter, Instagram, TikToky, Facebooky, whatever you want to call it, that kind of thing. I do have the chat open as well. I won't be showing this screen here, but I've got the chat open right here, right next to me, so I can see that as well. But by all means, let us know where you are, what you're doing, and all that kind of stuff. William, good afternoon or good morning to you. Morris, good evening. Hello, thank you for joining as well. Okay, so there is quite a bit going on. There we go. So that's the chat there. Quite a bit going on in the motorcycle world. And what I'm going to do, I'm just going to get rid of this studio effect because I'm getting myself confused. So I'm just going to go to one visual channel. There we go. That's much better. Right. Okay. So as I say, I've got the chat open. There's quite a few stories. Obviously, the big story of the last sort of 24 hours or so, I've released a video about it on the website. There's a couple of blog posts there as well. It's about Harley Davidson and the new CVOs. I'll be digging into that a little bit later on. I suppose that'll be the main feature, and we can have a little chat about that. But there are a few other... there are a few other news items of note, I would say, of note, that it might be worth digging into. Right, so let me just do this first of all, and just set this up. Is it that one? Yes, perfect. Right. Okay, so do that. There's quite a few news stories. Some of them a little bit funny, some of them a little bit, hey. Right, okay, let's get into the news, shall we? Okay, so I was trawling through some of the news items today, and there were quite a few interesting ones, but I thought I'd start off with a bit of a disappointment. Well, I suppose a disappointment to me, and not to you. Just get rid of that. It's here in the UK. This is from sussexexpress.co.uk. And this coming Monday is a bank holiday. It's a national holiday for us in the UK, if you're not aware. And it's May bank holiday, May Day, and it's oh crikey, what's going on here? There's a huge motorcycle riding run in Hastings on the south coast, south of London. I've been to it a couple of times. It's great. It attracts, I mean, I don't know how many people it attracts. It's lots and lots of thousands of people on motorcycles, right? And here it says thousands. But it said Hastings is bracing itself for bank holiday biker invasion. It really does take over the town. But also, what is really cool about this event is that most people would just go to, line up the streets, walk up and down. And, from that point of view, it's a little bit... Yeah, once you've done it a few times, it's okay. But, a lot of people just... And it's right on the beach, so lots of people just hang out at the beach and all that sort of stuff. But actually... there's quite a few little events going on within the town of Hastings, motorcycle related. Sometimes they're motorcycle shows, indoor motorcycle shows, that kind of thing. So anyway, so unfortunately I can't go this year because I am working, which is a bit of a pain in the derriere. But say if you are from this country, or if you're from mainland Europe and you want to go to somewhere this weekend, Hastings Motorcycle Run. It is a really good, especially if the weather's nice. If the weather's nice, it's always really good fun. Okay, right, that's that one. I'm going to come on to this next story a little bit later on. This one here, I don't know if anybody's interested in this show. This is a TV show here, Mayans, the Mayans MC. Yeah, I've just come across it. This is from the playlist.net. They got a brand new series coming out. I think it's the last series, season 5. And now, when did it say it was going to start off? It's coming out soon. Anyway, this has got the official trailer. I think it's within the next 2 or 3 weeks. So there we go. If you're into that kind of motorcycle club, Sons of Anarchy type thing, and this is like the spin-off of it, it's coming to a TV screen near you. Very, very soon. But it's actually, that's a good one. I quite like that one, that show. I say we're always about a year behind over here with that, but I quite like it. Okay, it's a bit of a funny story though. I don't know why it's funny, but I just thought it was a bit of a nonsense story. This is from the Scottish Sun, which is a tabloid press. The Sun hasn't got a great reputation over here in the UK, but this is this woman from she's a hot biker mum, and she's a vroom to breathe. Just here with the play on the word. Basically, I'm a hot biker mum. I refuse to wear a bra underneath my leathers. It's so freezing out. It's so freezing. It's so freeing out on the road. It's like this whole story about this girl who's part of this group about not wearing bras, which is fine, fair enough. I've got no issues with that. And she hates wearing a bra because she finds them tight and restrictive. Yeah, that's not lots of people, lots of women like this as well. But the argument is a little bit thin. The argument is, and it's all a little bit photos about her. She insists, the mum insists, it's all about equality, as men don't have to cover up, right? And it's basically 36-year-old loves nothing more than heading out and bike runs without one, and insists without a bra, and insists it's a freeing experience. She hates that women have to cover up their breasts while men get to let them roam free. Well, I mean, we could get into this more and more, of course. But I just think it's a bit of a silly story. But there we go. Typical tabloid stuff. Great if you don't want to wear a bra and you don't wear a bra underneath your motorcycle clothing. Big deal. And if you want to, go al fresco or as nature intended, then fine by me. Just don't let my wife catch me looking, if you know what I mean. Right, okay, so that's I thought it was a bit of a silly story, but there we go. Here's the next one. Right, yes, I don't know, I'm getting bombarded by cookies here today. If you're French speaking, here's a movie for you. Don't worry, they do have subtitles underneath. This is called Rodeo. It's a motorcycle movie from France. It's kind of like that Philadelphia, I forgot what the motorcycle stunt lads running around Philly from a few years back, but it's similar to that, but it's more of a fictional thing. The actress, the girl who's playing the lead role, she's actually a quite famous motorcyclist in France, by the way. So she does actually, it's not fake riding. She actually does know how to ride it, apparently. So this is from theguardian.com. Anyway, this Rodeo, you can go check it out if you're interested in that. Right, here's another one. Now, I thought this was quite an interesting story, but let me know what you think. Do you ever imagine, could you ever imagine that motorcycling could be banned, right? And in various countries, from time to time, they do indeed ban motorcycling. They ban people from riding with helmets. They ban people from riding at all. They ban people from riding in city centres. So this happens quite a lot. It happens all over the world. So, and the last sort of year, 2 years, it's happened quite a lot in Africa, in many countries in Africa as well. And yeah, so a lot of this is in this Benin, I think it is. But there's other countries like Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger, and it's all to do with gangs and armed gangs. They can get around on bikes really quickly. So what they're trying to do is trying to cut out this illegal activity and this sort of gang activity and illegal arms and everything like that. And so the only way they're thinking, right, okay, we're going to restrict the hours when people can ride motorcycles, and then we're going to stop them. And also, it's the illegal trade of motorcycles and the buying and selling of motorcycles, because the motorcycle is such a huge part of this criminal enterprise or criminal activity. So they're thinking, right, we've got to stop this, so we're banning motorcycles, which is, a bit of an interesting one. But anyway, I remember many years ago, motorcyclists with helmets were banned in Greece after a spate of shootings on a motorcycle. So motorcycle assassins used to ride motorcycles, and they take a few pot shots at people, and they'd cover up, obviously, wearing a helmet. So what they said is, right, okay, you can ride your motorcycles, but you got to take off your helmets. You can't, which is kind of counterintuitive, but it's like the lesser of the two evils. What do you do? So anyway, so this is an interesting one in that regard. Motorcycling can be banned, and so it really depends where you are in the world if it ever really affects you. But lots of people think, oh, this will never affect me. Well, you never know, do you? Okay, here's another story here. Again, I'm going to go into Harley Davidson in terms later on, but as always, I'm quickly running through these stories for you. This is from Reuters.com, big news agency, basically just showing how well Harley Davidson are doing. Their stock is up again. It's $38.4 a share, up 4.1. They're looking at an annual increase, about 4 to 7%. Sales for motorcycles and related products rose 21% to 1.56 billion, driven by a rise in wholesale shipments and continued price rises. That could be a bit of a misleading figures, because then they might be pumping out loads of bikes and shipping loads and loads of bikes ahead of the riding season, which they see all over the Northern Hemisphere. So, it's an interesting one, because, they do say a lot of this is down to the higher prices that they're charging, and that they're moving the higher costs onto the customer as well. As I say, I'm not going to dig into this too much, but I just think, well, how long is this going to last? How long is this going to last, with higher prices? But there we go. A couple of interesting stories here for Visor Down. This is Kaifeng, which is, I believe, is a Chinese electric motorcycle manufacturer. I think I featured them 2-3 weeks ago on the channel, but the F80 electric motorcycle looks pretty cool. Look, very much Suron based. Now 5,495. I believe there's a road version and an off-road version. Very similar bikes, but there's lots of these very lightweight electric motorcycles that are doing the rounds right now. Cake. Here's another one from Visor Down. Cake have released this Buck, B-U-K-K platform bike, which is really customizable, but it also features that brand new electric motor, the Jante or Yante motor as well. So again, Cake, the Swedish electric motorcycle manufacturer. Again, go to Visor Down, you'll see all the stories there. A lot of the stories are featured on my own website as well, revelatoralf.com as well. Here, another story, again, Visor Down, but doesn't necessarily need it to be. MASH motorcycles. You may remember a few weeks ago I talked about the founder of MASH motorcycles died. But anyway, the company still continues. They're releasing MASH motorcycles offers extended 3-year warranty now. Quite a few of the motorcycle manufacturers, especially smaller ones, seem to be offering better ownership packages these days. So if you're looking at motorcycle ownership and you're looking for sort of value for money, then sometimes it's not the initial purchase price, is it? It's the package. And I always talk about a package. What is the package like? You might pay another £1,000, dollars, shekels, let's say, for a motorcycle, but actually you might be getting free servicing or free, better warranty. So just bear that in mind. Here's another, and that's from Visor Down as well. Here's another story here. This is from greydynamics.com. Quite an interesting story. It's about the Night Wolves. It's Russia's far-right biker gang. I've heard of these before, and I don't know how current these photos are. But images show Russian President Vladimir Putin with a far-right motorbike gang. It's quite an interesting read, actually. I had heard about these guys, and it's, you don't often hear this kind of activity from within Russia. Motorcycle activity in Russia isn't a big thing. And their motorcycle industry took a major hit many, many years ago. Similarly, or conversely, and obviously there's the war in Ukraine with Russia and Ukraine as well. There's motorcycle gangs or clubs within Ukraine as well that are kind of have very interesting very interesting clubs, let's say. And it just goes on, where it's the members. In March 2014, Ukraine, members of the Night Wolves traveled to Crimea, setting up roadblocks and providing support for the Moscow orchestrated takeover. They played an important role in the annexation of Crimea. I mean, they are kind of, I just wonder is how much of this is there. Well, these are actually military people who are just bikers as well, or whatever. But look, it's an interesting read. Go check it out if you want to find out more about these guys as well. But greydynamics.com. Okay, here's another story here from, yes, I forgot to say, if you saw my live show a couple of weeks ago, I talked about Suzuki in Pakistan. They had to close down their production plant, and then I released another story saying actually they've had to continue the shutdown of that plant because of supply chain issues. Well, guess what? They've had to continue doing it again. Pak Suzuki on Wednesday announced a week-long suspension of production at both its car and motorcycle plants due to a shortage of inventory. The company made the announcement just a day from 5-day Eid holidays in the country. Import restrictions, so has decided to shut down motorcycle and automobile plant from May the 2nd to the May the 9th. So it just seems to be going an ongoing saga for Suzuki in Pakistan with their plant there. Interestingly, why it's just the Pakistan plant and not other plants that has been affected? Because you would have thought that inventory or supply chain issues would affect the whole business rather than just one particular country. But there we go. I suppose it depends which models they're making at that plant as well. Okay, interesting story here from Visor Down. Visor Down, they've got a patent on a magnetic brake to help save riders from low slides, which is really interesting. The Kawasaki electronic brake works off the chain pinion and is designed to stabilize the bike on corner entry, which is quite interesting. So there we go. It's in that position. The system works on the chain wheel of the bike and not the brake discs at either end, and is a type of magnetic clutch that can be electronically actuated to apply a load to the chain during deceleration. The theory behind this system seems to be it can help to stabilize the bike at just a critical moment to help prevent a low side crash. Braking into a corner does a couple of things for the bike. Yada, yada. Yeah, okay, that's quite an interesting thing, isn't it? Well, I mean, let's see if that ever comes off, but or it's ever featured in future motorcycles. But there we go. That's Kawasaki with their patent of their, now what's it called? A magnetic brake. There we go. BMW here, next story. In Italy, they've just unveiled their ultimate edition of the R1200, 1250 GS. Now, I believe only 2,100 units are going to be made available of this as well. So if you're into that sort of bike, built on the base of the triple black GS, various packages, both new and existing, have been applied to the Ultimate Edition. So the Ultimate Edition GS. Bear in mind that they believe the GS is coming out with a 1300 this year, supposedly. So we'll see. This could be the last hurrah of the 1250, hence why the Ultimate Edition is coming out, and maybe the the 1300 is the one to go for. Okay. This is quite a big story. I'm going to do the lesser story first and then come on to this one. Okay, so Ducati, I didn't even know this was a thing. Okay, to be honest with you, I didn't even know that Ducati had this. I know they're Ducatisti, fans of Ducati motorcycles and riders of Ducatis. But they've got a We Ride as One event. And they're happening all over, it's happening all over the globe. This is from mcnews.com, which is an Australian-based magazine, Australia, New Zealand. And they're saying, We Ride as One will return for a second running globally, as the Ducatista community celebrate their passion and a new permanent fixture on the Ducati calendar. Enthusiasts will gather in Ducati dealerships around the world to ride together in various parades, which in every corner of the planet will colour the streets of every city. Yeah, as the first nations to kick off the 2023 We Ride as One program. So I assume it's maybe not happening on exactly the same day. It's happening at various times throughout the year. But obviously, if you're a Ducati fan, a Ducatista, whatever the term is, you'll find out your local dealership there as well. Okay, next, the more serious story, I suppose, is no, get rid of that. This is from, it's also featured on my website as well, but I thought it'd come from autoevolution.com. Ducati have recalled the Power Cruiser, I suppose that's what you call it, the Power Cruiser Diavel V4, and it's basically footrests, rear footrests on the bike. They've been improperly forged. I had a look at the National Transportation Highway Administration thing from the United States, the recall. I also looked at the service bulletin from Ducati, and basically I think this has been issued by Ducati North America, this recall, and I believe from memory it affects 145 motorcycles. Obviously, globally, it could affect more than that. And there's a stamp. It's a batch of footrests, and it's stamped K22, I believe. That is affected. So basically, if you bought a DFL, a 2023 DFL, but even if you're unsure, have a look at the footrest on the underside, flick it over, have a look. And if you can see K22, I believe that's the footrest that has not been forged properly or fabricated properly. So they're doing a recall. So you just go to your dealership, wherever you bought the bike. They inspect it. They see whether you have the footrests that are affected, and they'll quickly change them out. It's an hour job, whether it's even an hour to do it, and it's all free of charge, of course. So that's a Ducati. If you got a Diavel, then go for it. It's a nice bike, the Ducati DFL. I mean, super fast. Yeah, here we go. It does say that a grand total of 145 motorcycles were called back, namely 2023 models, produced between February 16th, 2023 and March 30th, 2023, only for the US market. So I don't know if this is, because it's only Ducati North America that have issued this recall, it may not affect other markets. But obviously, as always, when I talk about these recalls, depending on where you are in the world, and if you, let's say, you have a brand new Ducati DFL, go to your dealership or have a chat with them as well. Owners will be, let's have a look here. Owners will be notified by the 3rd of May, I believe. So it's quite an interesting one. Yeah, how much are they? $26,595, which that's US dollars. I think they're well over 25,000 over here in the UK. I'm not sure on the exact price, but there we go. So it's not exactly very comforting to know, is it, that all of a sudden you bought a brand new bike and it's got an immediate recall because the footrests, the foot pegs haven't been manufactured correctly. But there we go. Okay, so that is Ducati. Ducati, they've got a whole year of events going on. Also got a recall on their bike as well. Okay, their DFL. Right, I'm just trying to close all these down. Okay, right, let's get into the main story, I suppose. The main story. I am really going through this show tonight. Oh, here we go. Okay, and the maracas are still sounding true. Okay, Harley Davidson have got brand new news. I always think it's a bit odd that Harley Davidson, let's get the website up again. Harley Davidson, it's just a little bit odd that they give you a little bit, but they don't give you everything. Sometimes they give you too much, and then they take it all back. And sometimes they just leave you hanging there for ages and ages. Look, I'm not, you know, I don't know. Basically, Harley Davidson here introduces all new CVOs. Now, if you remember, you know, when we first talked about Harley Davidson back in January, we were talking about, well, where are the CVOs? Where are the bikes? Not just me. I mean, everybody's saying, well, where are the CVOs? Well, we know they've been holding them off for a mid-season launch. If you watch the live shows the last few weeks, there's been leaked photos of CVO Street Glide and Road Glide on the production line. So we kind of knew it was coming. We knew it had a 121 engine. We knew it redesigned fairings for the Road Glide and for the Street Glide, different wheels, that kind of thing. Looked at suspension, looked at obviously paint schemes and everything. But essentially, this is what it is. Let's see if I can bring these photos up for you as well. Because there we go. 1 second. Let me just put that up there. There we go. I knew it was there somewhere. Right. So this is the Street Glide and the Road Glide CVO. I mean, it kind of looks. They kind of look okay. This Street Glide, it just looks like a Chieftain to me, though. I think they've redone the front mud guards, made them a little bit higher. The wheels are definitely different. This kind of spoke pattern. The suspension looks different. They're saying it's got a different suspension. What what the actual specifications of that are. Looks like upside down forks as well. Kind of looks like the forks that I've got on mine as well, actually. I mean, they're very, yeah, they've both got upside down forks, which are much better. You know, you would think, well, why is the CVO getting all this? Why isn't just all the Taurus, why aren't they getting it? Well, they probably will. They probably will in the next couple of years. That's the thing. They probably will. It probably will all be transferred over. I suppose the question is, Envixity, good evening. Good evening. There's your shout out for you. The question is, I suppose, how much are these things going to cost? How much are they going to cost? And what will the waiting time be? You know, there's obviously much discussion already about what the paint scheme is going to be. There's only 2 colours, I believe. And judging by the photos, well, one of them is already a silver, isn't it? You know, it's, you know, the video that I released earlier on is basically taking lots of information from the official press release, which I got as well. And, you know, as I say, I've heard it all already from other quarters of people. So actually, these look like Indians. You know, they look like the Challenger and the Chieftain, and I kind of think, well, the Street Glide now, the CVO Street Glide, does look a little bit Chieftain-esque. It does look a little bit like it. It's hard to tell, isn't it, until you get these you know, up close and personal, what you think of them. I mean, you know, you know, let me just get their photos up there again. They do look okay. More than okay. They look nice. You know, I'm just glad that they haven't got ridiculous paint schemes on them. They actually do look cool. You know, blacked out lines. I do like that. Blacked out casings. You know, nice paint scheme on it. You know, silver. Maybe some kind of 2-tone or triple tone scheme on the tank. You know, different shades of grey or different shades of silver, whatever it is. But it looks nice. New headlights, of course. I'm not sure the Road Glide headlight I kind of like that elongated one. The Street Glide, I'm not sure about that one. That looks a bit naff to me. It looks a bit of an odd shape. But there we go. What these things, how much power? Obviously 121 cubic inches, but the big thing is variable valve timing. Morris, hello. CVO, it's custom vehicle operations. Now the question is, of course, these are very sort of Harley Davidson's custom bikes, if you will. You know, instead of you buying a Tourer and adding all the goodies onto it, they said, well, we'll produce one for you, and this is it. This is the one that's got all the bells and whistles, and it all looks really good. But obviously, how much is it going to cost? You know, but I suppose the big question is, how many would be sold? How many? I actually don't know. That's a good question, actually. I don't know how many bikes across the globe every year are sold, CVOs. Be very interesting to find out. Obviously, you would imagine these kind of bikes are going to be in the region of 40,000+. You would imagine. They've got to be in the region of 40,000+. I can't see them being anything less than that. I'd be very surprised if they're less than 40,000. But you know, again, I'm not going to get too hung up on the price. They're not. They're too much for me. That's for sure. So I would never spend that kind of money on that kind of motorcycle. That's for sure. However, some people will. And I think if you've already got a CVO or if you've already got a Tourer, you may, you think about trading in your old bike for a new bike. It may not be that much of a jump for you to be able to afford one of these, you know. Yeah, William Casperson, which is a bit ironic, custom vehicle operations, as they are more just fancy than actually custom. Yes, a lot of it is just kind of, just uprated, isn't it? Whatever. I mean, the big thing now is that they've come out with a 121 engine, which is good. You know, it's good that the CVO stands alone. A couple of weeks ago, I did the live show as well, when I released the update of more images that had come out and more information about these CVOs, but there was a bit of a discrepancy because if you remember in the article, it was talking about 2024 bikes. And I said at the time, I think that might be incorrect. I think because we thought these bikes were going to happen this year. So, and it just so happens that, I was correct. These bikes are now coming on the 6th of June. There's going to be more information on the 3rd of May about these bikes. And I would imagine we're going to have particulars on colours, possibly on specs, that kind of thing. Price, I would have thought so as well. But then we're looking at the 6th of June. That's also going to tie in with the celebrations in Budapest and Milwaukee as well. I think they're gonna showcase these at those shows. You know, I much prefer, if we're talking about bikes, in terms of the CVOs, I much prefer these CVOs than the 50,000 limited CVO Road Glide Limited with the heirloom colours, with the anniversary colours. I much prefer the look of these bikes. I actually think they look really nice. They look really nice. As I say, way out of my price range. Not really for me in that case. The other thing that has been uprated on these bikes is the infotainment system. Now, I do. It does beg the question: what needed uprating? On the infotainment system, what is it that they're up? Is it a brand new system, or is it just an uprated one with more features? Because I think if it's just an uprated one, or one with more features, I think that's a little bit lame. However, if it's a brand new unit that offers different capability and better synchronization with your phone, let's say, with some kind of headset, better speakers, that kind of thing. I think it's got better speakers anyway. I think the ones in the fairing and also in the saddlebags, I believe I read somewhere that they've uprated those as well. So maybe that was in the last article. Maybe that's where I'm remembering it from. So it'd be interesting. It'd be interesting to see the full specs on these. William, it looks like all the gauges went digital from some of the pictures. I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised if they've tried to make this stand out. Remember, Harley Davidson were criticised, and certainly by the likes of me, they were criticised, I suppose, from not releasing the CVOs, from making them with the 117 last year and they brought out the lowriders. The ST bikes with the 117s. So, well, what are you paying? Why have you got the CVOs with a still a 117? This should have been done ages ago. So I think they're a bit behind the curve in terms of satisfying that audience. If I was buying a CVO last year, if I was in the market, I would feel, I think, a little bit miffed, a little bit, annoyed that the CVO isn't that special, because you got other bikes with the special engine, as it were. If I'm being honest, I'm a little surprised. I'm a little not disappointed, maybe a little surprised that it's only a 121, because I think there isn't much room. But this just plays into the hands of Harley Davidson to just keep on creeping up, and just keep on people wanting more and more and more. I mean, personally, I don't see the whole thing of just wanting bigger and bigger engines all the time. I think it's a little bit silly here as well. I just got an email here. Let me just hear from Harley Davidson press office as well. Is it the same? Okay, so there is. It's just literally just come now to me. There is an all-new CVO model launch premiere, and it's on TuneIn the 7th of June. Okay, so I believe that'll be directly on the website. It doesn't say what time, but there's a trailer for it, the YouTube video from Harley Davidson. Go to Harley Davidson YouTube channel. It's it doesn't really show a lot of the bikes actually. It's all very kind of designy sketches and that kind of thing. A few glimpses of the bikes, but anyway, so it's going to have the launch premiere on the 7th of June. I say just check, wait for the next on the 3rd of May. I'll try and bring out more videos for you and more information on this as well. But as I say, it's got a new look, new design. Obviously, it's it's tweaked. It's mostly the fairing, isn't it? The fairing, front fenders, mud guards, I think are raised, a different shape on those as well. We've got different suspension. You would imagine uprated suspension, probably akin to the STs or something different, but they must have uprated that suspension, because you can't keep on going on a bike with pretty poor suspension. So finally they seem to have done that, and it's a paint scheme. The lighting has all changed as well. The integrated turn signals, indicators, so it makes the bike look a lot cleaner. Definitely. And from the front, they look quite good. They do look very Indian to me, though. I've got to say, they do look like Indians now. I would be, if two bikes, a Challenger or a Road Glide were coming up to me, behind me, or coming towards me, and all I saw was the fairing now, the bike, I would, I've had to take a quick snap shot and say, okay, that's there's a Harley, there's an Indian. I'd be like, ooh, not sure really, and then okay. Same with the Street Glide and the Chieftain. I'd be like, oh God, which is which, And I think that's the inevitability of designs, isn't it? There's only so many designs, there's only so many tweaks that they all kind of morph into one after a while, and then somebody comes out with something completely radical, and then it divvies off again. But anyway, listen. So that is the news from today. Some interesting ones there. But as I say, Ducati, they've got their recall on the DCVOs, the power cruisers, and obviously Harley Davidson with the news of their brand new CVOs, the Street Glide and the Road Glide. More information coming out on the 3rd of May. As I say, the official launch on the 7th of June. Now, as I've just told you, literally just come through just now for me, they're going to have something on the website as well. And there's a launch premiere, so it'd be interesting to see what that is, if it's just a video or if they're going to do a live link or something like that. I wouldn't have thought, excuse me, I wouldn't have thought they'll put too much emphasis onto it, because the amount of bikes that they're going to sell. And I say, it'd be interesting to see how many bikes that they do sell, how many CVOs they do sell as well. Anyway, listen, all I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to leave it a nice short but sweet live show tonight. I thought I'd just bring you the latest news. I am making a few more videos this week, and I'm actually in the Breaking Bad camper a lot the last couple of days, and I've got some stuff to do. I've been trying to get things to work. I haven't used all the facilities, let's say, on the camper for all winter. So I'm trying to make sure everything's working before I go off on my little adventures. So me and my dog out in the Breaking Bad camper in the wilds of Great Britain. I may have a little cheeky trip out into the continent in the next few weeks as well. Got a bit of business to deal with, you know what I mean? Bit of business. And but then I'll be making lots more videos as well. Still doing the shorts, a mixture of things there, nothing really specific. Just having a bit of fun with that. Still making the videos, but obviously the live shows are the ones that I'm focusing on as well. Anyway, I hope you're enjoying the content. I hope you're enjoying the format as well. So tonight is just a bit of an informal chat. I thought I just wanted to bring you the news, give you the the better images as I could find them. And if you say go to the Harley Davidson, if you haven't seen it already, go to the Harley Davidson YouTube channel. You'll see their video there. There isn't a lot there to take. It's about a minute long. There isn't a lot, you know. Morris, Casey, yeah, ducking and diving, absolutely right. Ducking and diving, and wheeling and dealing. Right, with that, guys, with that, all I can say is thanks for watching. It's been emotional, as is always the case, and I'll catch you again on another video, live show, coming very soon. Maybe even a short. Ta-da.